The Human Rights Commission is calling for responsible social media look. And let's look at the social media charter now, which was launched recently, and it touches on quite a number of aspects when it comes to how we use social media and how we should be respecting the rights of others. Let's speak to the Commissioner, Chris Nissen, who joins us live now. Thank you so much for your time, Commissioner. Racism is sometimes laid bare on social media, and it not only impedes on one's human rights, but let's talk about how it is a threat to our democracy.
Absolutely. And I don't understand why people who are putting this up on social media cannot understand that they are being watched, and somebody, even if they passed on to somebody else, as soon somebody will then also pass on to somebody else, even in their own group, it will come out, and eventually it comes out in the media and in the open, and then we as the Human Rights Commission will have to take action in terms of doing an investigation into that. I mean, we've heard, and I'm not going to mention all the cases in the last few months, how people have been saying very, very ugly things, not only against one another, but also one group against another group and so on, and really, really degrading people. And so, yes, it does impact on people's personal, but also collective integrity. And that's why the Commission is very, very clear that, even if you are hiding yourself in the social media, we will be getting you, like we've done with a person that was called Tracy Zille 2 years ago. We managed to trace that person. So yes, it does impact on people's lives. And it's also created a situation where it's like kind of racist bullying that's happening. And the people on the other side look at themselves and say, are we that really bad? Why are they talking about that of us? So yes, indeed, it has created for the Commission a great challenge to look at this social media and say, please be responsible for the users so that you do not have to infringe on the rights of other people.
Especially because, people, as you say, often hide behind anonymous or bot accounts and they think they cannot be found. But let's talk to someone who's watching tonight. What can be described as a harmful expression?
A harmful expression, if you look at the National Action Plan, we talk about hate speech, we talk about xenophobia, talk about xenophobia, but the hate speech. We talk about anything that discriminates against somebody else, whether it is the LGBTI community, whether it is any group in this country, whether it's even calling another person names, harmful names. So it is from race to harmful names to hate speech and also to degrade people. Because when you degrade people, you touch that person's humanity, and that humanity is based on that person's dignity, which constitutes the basis for human rights. And so that is the kind of things.
And Commissioner, some people, pardon me for coming in there, some people also argue, though, especially the people who post what you've just described now, they'll argue and say that it's my freedom and it's my right to express myself in the manner that I should, but that is not good enough, is it?
Not at all. With your rights come responsibility. And freedom of expression doesn't mean that you can insult other people. Because the other person, other group that you're insulting has also got rights. But you cannot just say that because freedom of expression, where do we draw the line with freedom of expression? Freedom of expression, I grew up under apartheid. We were arrested, we were tortured. Because we wanted to have freedom of expression, we didn't have it. And our freedom was just, the expression was to say apartheid is wrong and we want a new democracy and we want liberation. Today, you can't just get on a platform and say, it's my freedom of expression to insult, degrade, humiliate other people.
And you alluded to this a little earlier on, but I want us to zoom into it. When someone posts something on social media, they sometimes tag other people or someone else retweet what they would have then posted. Let's talk about the responsibility of that person that is retweeting, because some of them argue that, but I did not start the post. But there are responsibilities that also come with retweeting something.
Absolutely. I'm sure you will recall one tweet that one person, public person, did some time back, and it was found that even if you retweet, even you receive it, you are just as guilty. You need to take your responsibility and report it. Even go back into that group or whatever and say what you've done is wrong and you need to apologize, or this thing will be taken up, or I will report you. If in law, if or in society today, if you know about a criminal case, criminality that took place, and you keep quiet, then you are just as guilty of those who committed the crime. You have to report that crime. So in this case, if there's somebody on social media tweeted you and you're not responding and you retweet it, you're just as guilty as that person who tweeted in the first place.
And there's something called the billboard test, and I found it very interesting when I was going through the charter. Let's talk to the viewers tonight about what that actually is.
Sorry, just repeat that. I've just...
Okay, let's talk about the billboard test, you know, putting it on social media and how you'd want to be perceived. For someone who's watching tonight who says, but I can say anything that I want, it's my social media account. Okay, it looks like we've just lost the commissioner there as we're talking about, you know, the rights that come with being on social media, because a lot of people seem to hide behind freedom of expression. But of course, your rights cannot, you know, trample on other people's rights. There's also, of course, the issue of cyberbullying that parents are also talking about. And Commissioner, I'm not sure if you are able to hear me now.
I'm back.
All right.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, it was just
No problem, no problem. We do understand. Let's talk about the issue of, you know, the billboard test in context with what people are putting out there on social media, especially when it looks at the issue of what can you say in private versus what can you post.
Well, the thing is, if I said earlier on, you know, we've been getting into social media in the last decade and so, and people have been responsible. People have been responsible in terms of family, you know, letting family know where they are and looking for family and talking to family and posting news, posting photos, etc., in part of a social, you know, society and a network, etc., and conveying news, conveying messages, conveying, you know, greetings, and posting with one another, even if you just want to post to brag with your new car or with your new house or with your new jacket or something like that. You know, you in the spirit of communication and keeping contact with one another. But the moment when you cross the line, when it becomes hate speech, where you discriminate against people, when you degrade people, you call people names, and you try and bully people and try to expose people to other people, that is where where we draw the line. You cannot, and we have had a meeting with Facebook and all others, and we brought out that report, and we say people must also try, and when people do that, to really go after them and so on, because in the end, it is Facebook that gets the name, it's Twitter that gets the name, it's other social media platforms that get the name. And because if we do not stop it, anybody else will think that it's the right thing for them to do, to get at people. And so don't get at people, don't call people names, don't degrade people, don't belittle people, don't take revenge on people, don't try and make people's name bad in social media. Stick to what you want to do, and that is to create, in terms of the billboard, create a network for you, your family, your friends, and even if you want to joke, but your jokes must be in line with a protocol that does not hurt people. But all of that, it is about gathering, getting to know each other, and getting meetings and so on. So that is what the billboard is. In fact, you should not cross the line.
And Commissioner, just as a final question then, you talk about, you know, how the use of social media, you know, is for family and all of that. But there's another one that is now emerging, which is people also calling out, people who would have either allegedly committed criminal acts or tried to locate, people who would have then, either stolen from them or committed one form of crime or another against them. Let's talk about that fine line then that is being walked there.
Well, if obviously if there is somebody that's looking for somebody, because Facebook's also to look for somebody's missing, my sister disappeared, all of those kind of things. That's correct. That's right. But if the person says this thing happened to me, I lost my car's been hijacked. This is my registration. My house was broken in. This is what happened. Can you help locate it for me? However, you must report to the police. And if you know who that person is or who those people are, it's your responsibility, whatever information you have, to go to the police, and the police have got a hotline. Even you can ask your friends for the lookout and say, but you should not be put on Facebook or Twitter. It should be reported directly to the South African Police Services.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner. And I do hope that the viewers really found quite a lot in this particular conversation. And that charter, of course, as you go through, it really talks about so much, when it comes to responsible social media use. Thank you. We do appreciate your time.